Welcome, everyone, to this week's edition of The Red Chair. I have a very special guest with us today, Micquelyn Malina. She is the embodiment of grit and grace and growth. And Micquie, we're so excited to hear a little bit about your story, who you are. Tell us a little bit of your early journey, how you jumped into real estate, and kind of what it was like growing up for you, Micquie.
So from an early age, we moved out to the country. We had 10 acres in Western Johnson County, and my sister wanted horses. She's 6 years older than me. And I loved it. I was so obsessed with the animal and I just loved everything about them. And so for me, that was I learned early on that being around the animals, it's like you have to take care of them first because they can't take care of themselves, and take care of yourself second. That was kind of the epitome of what I grew up thinking about. And so, yeah, growing up with the out in the country and with the animals, I loved every part of it. So,
That sounds like something that was really important to you growing up and taking care of the horses. I'm sure that taught you a lot about,
yeah.
you know, understanding the animals, growing them, responsibility, persistence.
Oh my gosh, so much. And I fell in love with competing and showing horses
Yeah.
early on. And, we didn't have a lot of extra money to go and buy a fancy horse. So I had to learn. And one of my favorite quotes is hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. And I, granted, I mean, I was pretty talented at it. It came natural to me, yet we couldn't pay the money to have this fancy horse. My first horse was actually someone had a debt to my dad and gave us a horse, which that's even
Really?
more debt. Right? It's like
What a gift.
buying the horse is the cheap part. It's the monthly, daily, all that kind of gets expensive. So, yeah, that horse became my first horse because nobody else really wanted it in my family. And so she was a little bit crazy, but I loved her, and I learned really hard work there. And competing and being competitive, yet I was in a sport that was very subjective. And I learned really quickly that, okay, that's one person's opinion, and it may not be the correct opinion, yet all I can do is get better for myself every single day. And how can I improve? And that kind of led me to when I got off to college freshman year, I decided for all my horse showing, I never finished my biggest goal, which was go to the world championships.
Okay.
And I called my parents over it was or we talked about it over Thanksgiving, and I said, "Look, this is really important to me." And for what did that get for me? I don't know. Just checking something off that was a huge goal for me to go to the world championships. I never would have dreamed that that would have been something that I could have achieved. Yet is it possible?
Yeah.
Yeah, it can be possible. So I started putting a plan together. I didn't love going to school. School was not my natural thing. It wasn't easy for me. My brother was really good in school. He was great, very smart. I wasn't a book smart person. I took college algebra 3 times and all that, but you can learn that.
Absolutely.
And I'm a true believer in your frontal cortex needs to develop. You need to so you can learn book smarts but how to treat people, how to work hard, that's sometimes you can't always, learn that.
Yeah,
The
those street
competitiveness,
smarts.
yeah, the competitiveness. So my parents agreed. They said, okay, if we can find a horse, and leasing became okay to do. You could lease a horse to go and show as a youth rider. And so we didn't have to buy it because we didn't have the extra money
Okay.
to do that. And so we found a horse, and my trainers called. They were in Oklahoma, and they said, it was the weekend before I was supposed to go back to college. And they said, meet us in Oklahoma. We're picking this horse up in Louisiana on our way back from Florida. If you like him, great. And if not, then we can keep. And the show schedule starts January 1st, where you start building points to go to the World Show. And so it was just January, and I was bound and determined, I was going to be behind the 8 ball already. And so I was, like, bound and determined to make this horse work. And he had had an injury, and so, he wasn't the smoothest horse to ride, and the class I competed in was about how well you rode and
Mm.
set the horse and, like, did these patterns and things like that. So, we made it work, he was great. We ended up being undefeated in the state of Kansas, we showed all over, and then went to the world championships, and going into the finals, I was half a point from first. I was first and second were tied, and I was in third place, half a point behind. And this is where I learned the visualization.
Yeah.
You have to visualize, and I was so focused, and this is how I got better and better each time. I would physically close my eyes and visualize each step in the pattern and how I was gonna make that work, and every time I've visualized what I want in my life, success has shown up.
Hmm.
I mean, the hard work has to follow,
Sure.
but you have to actually know what you want.
Yeah.
And so that I got switched around and I got pushed quicker than I wanted to go. So I didn't have a moment to visualize before I went into the finals. And I made a couple like missteps, like, just little tiny little things. And I ended up sixth. And I was disappointed
Yeah.
because I knew it wasn't the best that I could do. And so but it was still an amazing accomplishment that I was able to do. And I'm so grateful for my parents. And that's when that kind of leads me into real estate. So my dad, he had found out right before they came down to the world show, it was in Fort Worth, that he had lost his job. And it ended up being an ageism lawsuit and some kind of crazy things that he was the international sales director for Ricola cough drops. And so he brought Ricola to the United States. So he was very hard worker and like great at all those things. So he had lost his job at, you know, I don't even know how old he was by that time, 60 maybe. There's not a lot out there. He didn't have a college degree. And my mom said, okay, we're going into real estate. She'd always been an entrepreneur. She was like,
Was she working before that at all?
I mean, she owned a clothing store.
Okay.
She had when I was showing horses a lot, she started a tack business and, like, would buy and sell tack for people and things like that. They owned a grocery store, just very entrepreneurial was my mom. My grandfather was extremely entrepreneurial. He had a pie company in Wichita.
Oh, wow.
He did development real estate down in Shell Knob area, in around, like, Table Rock Lake. And then down around Bull Shoals and in Arkansas, he did a lot of land development. So it was kind of just in our family. He had an idea to start a really good idea he had was to have a drive-through hamburger stand. And he wanted to, and one of my uncles told me, grandfather passed away when I was 3. So I didn't get to know him. And one of my great uncles told me about this. He goes, I was an idiot. He wanted to come up with this drive-through hamburger stand where people didn't get out of their car and they could keep going and eat and get their food. And he goes, I told him that was the dumbest idea. People want to get out of their car and sit down and have a nice meal. And then, Ray Kroc came along and,
Exactly.
and McDonald's became what it was. And so he's like, yeah, so I was a dummy in that. And so he was very smart and things like that. And I think my mom inherited a lot of that. So they told me after I had competed that, he lost his job. It's going to be tough to go back to college for you. I was going to a private school at the time. And so I said, that's fine. I'll stay home. I'll go to Johnson County Community College because my goal was to finish my college degree.
Yeah.
I knew for sure I was going to have a college degree and I would say, oh, I'm going to be CEO of a Fortune 500 company. Like that was my goal. I wasn't really good at anything else. Like I wasn't good at math. I wasn't going to be in engineering. I wasn't great at any of that, but I worked hard and I had set goals and I visualized what it was going to look like. And so my parents went into real estate and my mom was rookie of the year for the company she went to. It was JD Reese at the time. Now it's Merchant Reese Nichols. And she was rookie of the year and people got angry at her because she would be at the office until 10 o'clock at night going through and making phone calls and working. And they said, that's not really fair. And like, I remember the broker said, oh yeah, I mean, you can stay here till 10 o'clock at night and work. And so she had a lot of grit and didn't always take time off and didn't always run it like a business. So I graduated from Rockhurst University with a marketing degree, and I started out working in an ad agency. And when I graduated, I got my license, my real estate license when I was in college, so my parents could go on vacation. Because this is a very long time ago.
Leverage right there.
Yeah, right. There was no email. There was no cell phones. If you left, your business just stopped. And so unless you had someone that you could trust, and so they said, "Go get your real estate license." I was on a winter break from college. Takes 2 weeks to it's really easy to get your real estate
Sure.
license. And so I got my license. They took a trip to Hawaii, well-deserved trip to Hawaii. I would at one point when I was in college, I worked 5 jobs. I didn't want my parents to pay for anything. I wanted to be able to support myself, and one of those was answering the phones at the front desk at the real estate office.
Yeah.
I saw these real estate agents running around with their hair on fire, working nonstop, not eating. Have I been guilty of that? Yes. And I said, I'm never going to real estate. I see these people working so hard and, bail on them. Clients will go, "Oh, hey, I bought a for sale by owner this weekend. I know you showed me 600 homes, yet we're excited about this house we bought." And there was no like real respect of professionalism,
Right.
and no one had a business. And I thought, this is crazy. They work all this time, and the amount of money that they actually make is not really representative of what it looks like out to the
Right.
public of what they're making with their lifestyles. And I thought, this is not for me.
Because
So
you watch them just
I worked
run ragged
it
and
was crazy.
in a burnout.
It's rough. It was rough. And so I worked for an ad agency for 9 months, is as long as it lasted there, because that's another crazy industry. I was actually making peanuts, and I worked, 60 hours a week. And there's a hierarchy, like you can't say something in a meeting. It was crazy. So I said, well, I'm going to look for a job that can kind of take me. And I left that, and I had my real estate license still. So I my mom said, "Well, while you're looking for a job, you sit here in the office, take the calls from all of our listings, and if you convert a client, they're yours.
Okay.
You can have that." And I was like, "All right.
And you're motivated.
I'm not doing this full time, but
Right.
right, okay." And I learned I was pretty good at it. I quickly was like easily getting into relationships with the clients of going, what's important to you? And asking the right questions. Cause I learned really quickly if they call me and I say, oh, that's a $350,000 house. And they say, oh, we can't afford that. And they just hang up. Like,
Right.
oh, well, I didn't do anything to get to know them.
Yeah.
Like that was just transactional. And so I learned that really quickly, that it's about what do they need and how can I solve that for them? So I stayed in real estate, and then my dad retired. He had some health issues. So my mom worked with buyers, I worked with sellers, and back up a little bit.
So you and your mom worked together for a
Yeah.
while. Okay.
The lovely Judy Johns would talk to us a lot about this company called Keller Williams. And I just was like, oh, let's see. Like, I
Yeah.
always want to know, what do I not know?
Sure.
And I'm a very curious person. I'm always listening to podcasts, reading books, talking to people. Like, you know, this may be the way you do it. Yet, is there something in there that might work for me? And so I always want to know, what do I not know? And if you're the smartest person in the room,
You're in the wrong room.
right?
Right.
And so we had lunch with Judy Johns, and she talked to us about Keller Williams, and I started learning about, this is a place that's going to teach you how to have a business, not just sling homes year after year after year. And what does that mean? Having a business in real estate, it means going deep with relationships with your clients, with the other agents, not running around like a chicken with your head cut off and like just going, I don't know what's going to happen next month, next week, next year, in 5 years, right?
Right.
People, underestimate what they can do in 5 years and overestimate what they can do in 1 year. And yeah, what does that day to day look like? And so I realized, okay, here's actually a blueprint to creating a business. And why can't, again, the goal setting and visualization, why can't I create my own business that looks like a Fortune 500 company? So, and I can be the CEO of that myself. So that's what coming to Keller Williams really gave me, is that opportunity to think differently like a business owner and do that. So all those things kind of coming together and accumulating into one thing. So
Well, you said so many there was so much great nuggets. I mean, I heard you say everything from you were able to take your horse, like, and you find something that wasn't perfect and didn't work exactly right
yeah.
and make it work for you.
Yeah.
And then the power of visualization. You mentioned that several times that you were learning how to see things and then training your mind to manifest those things.
You can your mind is one of the most powerful things, so why do you let it run wild
Right.
like a toddler? No. Like, you could train a puppy, you can train a horse, you can train anything, not everything. Yet, why can't you train your mind to think better and more powerful and to achieve what you want?
Yeah, and it's absolutely putting out there what you want. And so many people think it's about what you don't want or I
Yeah.
and that's exactly opposite of how
I think the
your brain
first thing
works.
is, what do you actually want in your life and for yourself and for your future?
Yeah,
And I'm a driver. I want to just go quick. I love spreadsheets for 5 minutes, and then I wanna go figure out how to achieve it and make it happen, right?
right.
And so for me, it was like, I didn't take the time to really go, "Okay, what do I want?" And now I'm an empty nester, which, my cautionary tale to all women and men out there that are like, okay, we're facing down the barrel. And it's sad the first time, your oldest goes off to college and all that. Yet you have to trick your brain that you're excited for them.
Sure.
You have to, because this is what you did.
This is the goal.
This is the goal.
Right.
They leave. I started calling ourselves bird launchers instead of empty nesters, because empty nester sounds sad. But if you've launched your birds, then you have a great next relationship. But the cautionary tale is, make sure you have something when they're gone. And not, if you like your spouse, make sure you still know them and like them. And you got married for a reason, because they're going to be gone. And you're going to look at each other and go, who are you?
Yeah, what
Right?
happened the last
Yeah.
18
Like,
years?
oh, we didn't really connect. So keep connecting. Yeah. Sorry. I was
No, that's
all over.
great advice.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
So, you told us a little bit about working with your mom.
Yeah.
Catch us up for the people that don't know your reputation, your business. Tell us a little bit about what your business looks today.
So, for after my mom retired, I was an individual agent. And I remember we had an amazing productivity coach in our office at the time. You know her, Kay Blonde. And I went to her office and I was like, it was literally like a scene out of Airplane, where I was like, I was in tears and I said, Kay, I can't do this. And it was almost like she reached across the desk and started slapping me across the face. Like, what are you talking about? She's like, you've been doing this.
Yeah.
You Why are you thinking, and now we know about imposter syndrome and all those things that have labels to it that makes it less of a scary thing when you put a label on it and you talk about it. That she's like, you can do this. You've been doing this. And I was an individual agent for a while, and then I found a really amazing assistant. She turned in director of operations, and she really helped me be the most functional I could be, doing my 20%. And then we had too many leads, and we brought Eric in. Eric Thomas has been part of my team for 6 years now. And so now we have Jackie runs our operations side, and we have a part-time marketing person, Kim. And Jackie does a lot for us. She's doing great things. And Eric's been with me for 6 years.
Okay.
He does listings and buyers, mostly residential, but I've made him learn about land. And so he knows a little about land to do that. And Katie Strahan, who is a just bottled sunshine, she's amazing. She joined our team in the spring, and our goal is to hire 2 new agents this year. And then Zach Joyce just joined our team, I think a month ago, 6 weeks ago. And he's working into doing the full-time role. Right now, he's a showing partner for Eric, and he's going to be incredible. So that's what our team looks like now. And then myself, I'm still in production, and my goal with the people on my team is to help them become multimillionaires. How can I help them think different to grow their wealth and have a great retirement plan? Because people don't think about that.
That's right.
That's always been part of I read The Millionaire Next Door. I think I was a junior or senior in high school because I was like, I was cleaning stalls at like 13 years old because I would work to pay for a great place where I would want my horse to be, right? It's expensive. And my parents didn't have a lot of extra money. So we had a great life, middle class, but paying for horses is not really a middle class situation. And so I worked to do that. And so I'm cleaning a stall and I'm thinking, there's some adults that do this. And this is what they do for their job. And remember, I wasn't great at school. And
Yeah.
I hated going to school. One of my daughters got perfect attendance one year in elementary school. And I was like, whose child is this? Because perfect attendance for me was going to school 5 days in the week. I went all 5 days in the week. I had perfect attendance. Like, people are like, "Why are you still here?" I hated it because it didn't come naturally to me, and I would rather be out riding my horse or hanging out at the barn, like, I was that girl, but I had a lot of friends. I played sports. I played basketball. We didn't have a lot of girls' sports, so it was basketball or cheer, I think. Maybe there was others, but so I was smart that I was friends with the really smart kids, and because I was very sarcastic and I had, like, a good sense of humor. They were the only ones that understood it because nobody really spoke that back in the day. And I played sports, so I was friends with the jocks in that. So I try to be friends with everybody because, you can learn something from everybody. What I thought. So anyway, that was, I think I got off track with
Well,
the
you were talking a
question.
little bit about it's important to you to help your team
Yes.
become financially, to become a millionaire and just understanding that background
Yeah.
and the books you're reading and the
Yeah. Oh, that's
experience that you were.
clearing the stuff up. Yeah, and I thought, this is great if someone chooses that. I want more for my life. Like, I want and then a few years ago, when I was an individual agent and, like, going, "Oh, I don't really feel like doing this, like, what's on the, you know, TV right now in the middle of the day, or I wanna just kinda hang out with some friends and stuff. What am I building this for?" And I found a poem by Marianne Williamson, and I pulled this quote out, and I created it as my mantra to myself to keep myself going every single day, and this is probably a misquote, yet it's, "You playing small does not serve the world."
Yeah.
And if I were to choose to play big and create something, who else could I help other than just my immediate family? And I remember, like, I would have, like, okay, great. I'm having a great year. If I build something, so what? I'm just going to invest it. I'm not going to, like, go because that's how I think is like, I want to build this. I'd rather have the money to know I could go spend it
Yeah,
than to actually have the thing to spend it because that's a depreciating asset.
for sure.
So for me, Millionaire Next Door, I read that when I was in high school and I was like, I want more so I can help more people. But it didn't quite have that language around what that was until really, I mean, maybe 5, 10 years ago, somewhere in there that language came to me of like, you playing small does not serve the world. Like, how can you serve the world in a big way? And so that's where with my team, that became important to me of going, oh, wait, if I bring these people into my world, then how can I help them think differently and help them grow something that they can go the ripple effect is massive,
Yeah,
that they can go help more people.
for sure. And have a life by design that they want to have
Absolutely.
and not just be stuck in the rat race for the next
Yeah. We're
20 years.
proud that Eric, he made a great living. He was home almost every night to give he has 2 older daughters and 2 young sons. Same wife. I always make that joke, but it's like, it's very cute. And he was home almost every night to give them a bath. He doesn't really miss the dance competitions or that he was at a cheer showcase last night. I think he set like 5 to 7 appointments this week. Like he has a massive week. And he didn't miss those things.
Mm.
He makes dinner most nights for his family, like and is making great money and being part of our team and serving his clients at a high level. So having that work-life balance, it's not really a thing, but it's
Right.
like, are you realigning yourself like on a daily, weekly basis? And that's the life that we've helped him create. And I'm so happy about that for him. So,
And I
but I'm
love
like,
that you've helped him, like, determine that focus and then build his schedule and life around it.
well, the schedule we're still working on, Eric, but he would laugh at that. Yes. It's that's the hardest thing for us is like, how do we do all that? I had a short time where I used to say, I want my family to feel like I don't work at all and my clients to feel like I work 24/7. That creates burnout.
Yeah.
And yeah, and I felt that for sure. So that's my cautionary tale again to cautionary tale number 2. Be careful of the burnout
Yeah.
because I love to work, yet
It kinda leads me to where my next question was
okay.
going. Was there a moment or a time in your life where you thought, "You know what? This just is the juice just isn't worth the squeeze."
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, I would say my next goal for my business was after I was like, okay, what's the point? I'm gonna make more. You playing small didn't serve the world. All those kind of things, kind of
Yeah.
growth into, and I was like, my next goal was like, how about I make enough money to where my husband could choose to not work
Yeah.
and he could retire and he could go choose to do this something that really fulfills him. He's had a great job and like all that, and he does so much for our family. Like, what if he could find something that he could choose to do? Like, I always have a self-aligning question for my daughters when they were in high school. Like, if I deposited $20 million in your bank account right now, what would you choose to do with your life? Like,
Mhm.
you have to volunteer, you have to do something, you have to give back some way. But what are you choosing to do if nothing else was a factor?
Exactly.
And so that was always a really interesting alignment question. Asking yourself that too. Are you finding the joy every single day? So, sorry, I got off track from your question again, Jenna.
Oh, you're
But
good.
yeah,
You were headed the right direction.
yeah,
Just that time in your life where you felt that,
yeah.
this might not be the right thing or worth it.
Well, when I said my mom retired,
Yeah.
and I was like, and we have a niche of selling land, and that's a really big niche for us. And the land, the residential and the luxury home on land, it's typically on land, yet we do sell luxury too, but they all kind of, circle back into each other. And there was a time where I thought about abandoning the land division of my business and not doing that because I was like, can I really do all this? And it's a lot to have really 4 separate divisions in my own business.
Mm.
And as an individual agent to juggle all that, there were many times where I was like, what am I even doing? And trying to sell in my own neighborhood that I lived in, I thought, I need to develop some thick skin here to not be afraid if they don't choose to work with me, if they don't hire me, if I have a house on the market that's not selling, like, am I going to put myself out there and be okay with that? Yeah, of course. Because I used to say to my friends, like, don't hire me because I'm friends with you and we're in real estate. Interview me because we're friends and I'm in real estate. You'll hire me because I'm the best one for the job. But you'll only know that if we interview. And working with friends is like, it's one of my favorite things.
Mm.
And because they're like, I go, look, you're going to get a different side of me that you don't necessarily know. And you're gonna realize how my brain works. I'm a workaholic and it's always working. I have to turn to shut it off. And you're gonna hear from me, not in a friend capacity really anymore.
Right.
Sometimes I'll call and I'll say, hey, I have my friend hat on, or
Sure.
hey, I have my real estate hat on, or something like that, just to let them know what's coming. But I'm just like, who better to help you than a friend that's a business owner?
Exactly.
There's a difference. There's some friends that have hobbies that sell real estate or sell something. Yet, is your friend that sells real estate a business owner and going to treat you like a customer or a client like that? So,
Yeah.
yeah.
And, kinda going back to your niche and what you specialize in, You've built an incredible business around luxury property, around land, around acreage. Tell us some things that most agents don't know about the difference between residential and then land and what you really focus on.
Okay, so the land to start with, we only learn about residential when we're getting a real estate. Well, we do learn how many square feet are in an acre. Yeah. When you're getting a real estate license, mostly it's about contracts and around the residential side. And then when you come to the offices, you learn about inspections and you learn about writing those contracts. So with the land, and I will say there's more liability and more issues when you're selling a piece of land to a client than there sometimes is with residential and a house. Just because it's a piece of land doesn't mean you can do anything you want with it. There's the city or the county that has a say in it. Can you even get water? Can you even build a house there? Like, there's so many steps we go through that's forward thinking that most people would never cross their mind. And sometimes even like with the horse properties, equestrian properties, people will call me and say, other agents will call me and say, hey, we're looking for a piece of property, or we have a client that has horses and they need a property that is set up for horses. And I go, okay, what kind of horses do they have? And they're like, what? Why does that matter? Because they're thinking of like a dot or something like that. And it matters because the setup matters.
Right.
Are they fancy show horses that need a really nice, stable? Those buyers don't usually care about what the house, so that's me a little bit more. Are they just outside pasture horses that are pets more that, it doesn't matter too much what the, fencing looks like and all that. So there's a lot of things that go into that. And then just land in general, like, okay, what do we need to do? Like, what are the things that, and I usually am asking even the other agents, like, okay, what do they want to do with this piece of property? And sometimes the agents don't always want to tell me. And I'm like, look, I want to help you help your client. And I'll I'll do whatever I can to help you figure out what that is. Because the worst thing is if somebody else's client buys a piece of land that I have listed and they end up not being able to do what they can with it because their buyer's agent didn't know. Well, that doesn't make me look good either.
Right.
So I usually ask those agents, like, what do they want to do with it? Like, what's their end game? And that helps solve that. And sometimes I'm like, this isn't the property for that, yet you might look at this or that. So there's so much liability, so much extra forward thinking that goes into buying a piece of land.
So it sounds like really working with somebody like yourself and partnering on some of those transactions might be
For
in their best interest.
Oh my gosh, for sure. The liability around that but the worst thing is not just our own liability, that the client ends up with something that's not the right fit for them.
Yeah.
Like, that's what this is all about.
And a lot of times with land, there's so many other factors,
Yeah.
estate or inheritance or family. I mean, there's so many things. And to have a professional in your corner
Yeah.
is huge.
Yeah. We love to do it. Help solve the problem of land.
When did you kind of figure out that might be your niche? How did that connect for you?
I will say, because, my parents lived out in Western Johnson County. They lived at that house that I grew up in, gosh, 30, 40 years, a long time. And so we knew a lot of the people that own land out in that area and just knew a lot about the land. And it became evident to me that, okay, back to you playing small doesn't serve the world. Like, there's people out there trying to sell this land that isn't helping that seller. Like, when I first really kind of worked to blow up our land division within our own business, I started doing professional photography with the land. Most of the listings were just, and I mean, it used to be mostly older gentlemen
Yeah.
that were in their truck and they were taking a picture from their car,
Right.
with their phone. Well, not really even with their phone back then, just a camera,
Right.
like they had to get the film developed that maybe wasn't even a digital, but you would see two pictures from the road and it was, you could see their side mirror in it, and I was like, "These are very expensive pieces of property." What we were being paid on them was very nice, and we needed to elevate that and
Mm.
do more to help the buyers find that piece of property because it's not just, sometimes listings, we do things with listings and the agent's ego kinda gets in the way because it's like, it's about me and it's this and look at this house and all that I have listed. Yet, if we're not showcasing the property in the best way, that the seller is going to attract the most buyers,
Exactly.
the most ready, willing, and able buyers, you're not gonna get the deal done for the seller that hired you to do this. So, we started getting and as soon as, like, drones became a thing, we started doing that, and we would do videos, and we would try and just draw maps of the property. So, once I always look for patterns that develop. So, after maybe 3 or 4 people called me and said, "Where's the property lines on this property?" And I'm like, "Well, I've looked at it and I've printed out the paper and that has the map." This I'm talking back in the day
Sure.
that had the property line. So I knew before I took my client out, but some people didn't even know those websites existed. Now I have a hunting app on my phone. And even if I'm in town residential, okay, I will pull out my hunting app. I don't hunt yet. I work with a lot of hunters and I can see the property lines and right there where we're at. So a lot of agents don't have that capacity. So I want to make it as easy as possible for these other agents that are going to be showing my property, representing us, looking at this, like overcome any of those objections. So we put the maps online. Most agents are doing that now, and that's nice, but just working to elevate it to a different level. So I just really focused on that. And then that was really something that helped us build our land side.
And just to provide that extra value, that
Yeah.
extra piece, going above and beyond, it sounds like was not the norm, especially when you were starting.
Yes, for
Yeah.
sure, for sure. So, and then probably 7 years ago, I was on a call with my coach and he asked me, he's like, "What's your biggest challenge right now?" And which a great coach will ask that. And because you don't really think about that. Like, what's my
Sure.
biggest challenge? What's my biggest challenge? Oh, inventory. And so even back in 2018, 2019, it was inventory. And he's like, "Okay, well, what can you do about that?" Well, I sell a lot of land and I have a lot of buyers that were looking for land to build a house on. And I was like, "Oh my gosh, why can't I create?" And I'd done this before with my parents, but it's almost like you forget about things that
Yeah.
you've done. And they say, "I've been doing this long enough that I've forgotten half the stuff that I used to know." Right. And so took this piece of land and we like found a developer and developed it to 3-acre lots. And we started saying, this is selfishly something that's going to help my other clients and help other agents. So, and that's, I actually have a class now that I teach how to create wealth and inventory through land because it all starts with land.
Absolutely.
We need more housing. Well, it starts with the land, and I was having the land and listing it and selling it. So I just started looking around and going, what do my clients need? And what's the thing I can fulfill with the land? And so we started creating an inventory in the large lot subdivisions that we sold a lot of our clients.
Yeah, and you thought differently, unpacked it, and solved a problem that you
Yeah.
guys were facing, and it's like it seems obvious, and at the same
Right.
time,
Like,
when you're
duh,
doing what
why
you
was,
do every
yeah.
day, sometimes it's
Right.
easy to just get in that next thing and
Yeah.
you don't always do.
Right.
That's a really great life lesson.
Yeah. It was good.
Well, tell us about one of your most memorable property or one of your wildest experiences that you've had in real estate.
Oh gosh. Well, we always say that you haven't been in real estate long enough unless you've walked in on a naked person, right?
Or
Look,
bought a refrigerator.
oh yeah, well, refrigerator, basketball goal, like
Yep.
all those things. Yeah, no, I did walk in on a day sleeper that was not dressed and he was face down. It was fine. He was face down, thankfully. I got out of there real quick. My client went back for a second. Like, no. I was like, not me. No, thank you. So, gosh, wild experience. I think really just some of those of like solving a problem. The seller wants this. We know who are the buyers out there that want this, and how can we make this happen? Like, to kind of just think outside the box. That's the most fun thing for me about real estate, is
Yeah.
like figuring out, and with luxury properties and homes on land and land, that's where we get to have the opportunity to kinda do something more creative and more different than we've done before. I once had a house that it was on a couple of acres. It was in Overland Park, but it wasn't in the family that wanted to buy it. The kids, they had 2 younger boys that had this amazing cul-de-sac of all these boys that lived there, and they all played basketball together outside, and, like, the kids did not wanna leave,
Yeah.
and the kids were upset, and the parents were like, "This is gonna be hard. I don't know if we're
Sure.
gonna buy it." And it was a really great property for them. And so I talked to the sellers. I go, "This is the challenge." I go, "Here's the thing. We can sweeten the pot. Can we bribe these boys to want to come and live in this house?" And so that was when Netflix was kind of just coming around, and we're like, "Okay, how about if we buy them this popcorn maker, a Netflix subscription, and we just had it packaged in, like, this whole candy thing, and
How
we're like,
fun.
"What about this?" And when we talked to the buyers about it, they were like, "Okay, let's bring it back over and talk about this." And we had a cool movie on the big screen, on that they had a projector in the basement and all that set up, and I think they still live there. That was a long time, that was probably 15 years ago or something, and they still live there, and the boys were very happy. I
I
think they've
love
graduated high school by now or something, but yeah, I saw the mom not long ago, and she was like, "That was just the coolest thing."
mm.
So,
And it's
it's
just
like
such a great example of how you think differently outside of the box, doing something that if you really get to know the struggle and the challenge of your
right,
client, you can solve the problem.
right, asking the questions and, like, working with our team. We were just on a call this morning, and I said, "Guys, you need to know who this person is and where they're coming from and why they're even wanting to talk about real estate, you know? And they might not know yet. If you can, like, help them understand it, that's our job, and, like, help them, and maybe it's not the right time for them. Yet if they're not gonna buy for 2 years, we'll still be selling real estate. 5
Yeah.
years? I mean, I've been doing this. I'm not even saying the number anymore. I'm just saying over 20 years because it's dumb. Yeah.
And you started pretty early on too, Mikey.
Yeah, that's true. I've been college, but still, I'm like,
I know you love the shock factor of how long you've been in real estate.
I don't love it anymore. I used to, but
That's
yeah.
great. Well, you have built an incredible team, a huge business. Tell me, what does success look like now for you?
For me, it looks like helping my team achieve more,
Mm.
helping the people in my life around me, like, how can I help them get everything that they want? When we start out setting goals, I always ask them, "Okay, and I don't need to know these numbers. You can share them with me and I can help you figure out the gap. Yet, how old do you want to be when you retire? How much do you want to live off of when you retire?
Mhm.
And how much do you have now?" And we can plug those numbers in and figure out, and then we know, okay, at the age you're at now, this is how much you need to invest at this average, interest rate, or what
Mhm.
return you're going to
4%
get.
thing.
Well, like, if you're getting a 6 to 8% in the stock market right now, maybe that's the return. 4% rule is off of how much you want to live off of.
Right,
So
withdrawal rate.
yeah, so you tell me, "Oh, and I live off $200,000 a year." Well, we know you need to get to 5,000,000.
Right.
Okay, well, where are you at right now? How old are you? How many years do you have to get that? And I plug all that into spreadsheets,
Sure.
and just go, "Okay, you need to invest at the age you're at right now this much. So let's write that down. This much per year, per month, per year. Let's write that number down. What fun things do you wanna do next year? Like, what vacations, what cars do you wanna buy? Do you wanna buy a house? Do you wanna do anything like that, investment? Like, okay, what's that gonna cost? Like, let's write this down. Like, write these numbers down. How much do you have to live off of?" Like, going backwards and all this, like, okay, this is how much, if you do all these things, this is how much you need to make. And we set the goal based on that. And they're usually surprised it's not that big of a deal. And okay, this is how we can help you create that life for yourself. And like, I'm excited to when I can start doing investment properties with them.
Yeah.
And, our goal is to get them to that point that we can start doing all that. So,
And what's so powerful about our industry is when you chunk it down for them, they realize it's only a couple extra appointments a week or
yeah,
one extra a month to get
yeah.
significantly further down the road.
Absolutely. And sometimes there's people out there that we want, to be part of our team that because I always say, if you're a part of our team, there's only 5 things that you should be doing.
Yeah.
Lead generation, which talking to your people, loving on your people, leading follow up. Like, are you following up with do, can I help you with something? What do you need? You're going on appointments, you're showing properties, you're talking to people about listing properties, your buyer consultations, and you're doing inspections, writing contracts, and going to closings. If you're doing anything outside of that, you're not using a system that we have. You're not using something that we have here to make your life a lot easier. Then you're home at 6 o'clock, 5 o'clock to be able to make dinner. You might have appointments after that. You got to figure out how you can schedule all of that, but you can go create that. So, or people that want more leverage in their life that have built this big business that they want to go start enjoying life and maybe they didn't have the leverage in their business. Like, great. Let us keep getting you money for this business that you created and keep servicing your clients at a high level when you're on vacation 6 months out of the year.
And it goes back to being part of a powerful team
Yeah.
that has the systems, that has the support, the models
Yeah.
that can really streamline those things for you so you maximize your time.
I learned really quickly, like, why am I creating the wheel every single time I'm having a listing conversation with somebody? Like, what am I doing here? And then I had the amazing Kate that helped rip things out of my hands. And like, what are you
Yeah.
doing? Why are you working on this stuff? I've got this. You go out and talk to more people. Like, do you have enough people to talk to? Like, talk to them. Like, help them with their real estate, you know, goals for that year. Like, whatever we can do.
Yeah, and it goes back to having the right who's in your life and the right talent.
Yeah.
Well, Mikey, I know women and leadership is so important to you. What's one thing that you hope your story really shares and inspires other women in real estate with?
Oh, golly. I haven't really thought about that because it's like you don't think of yourself as an inspiration to others. You look at
Yeah.
who are you looking at that inspires you and who do you want to grow to be like. So I don't tend to think of myself in that way of how and I guess maybe you're asking about what's the legacy I want to leave or
Maybe a
what's
lesson from your story that you hope other women in real estate
stop trying to
glean
think
from.
you have to do it all.
Yeah.
Stop it. No, there's amazing people out there that want to help you. And if your spouse isn't helping you, have a conversation, talk about it. You guys are together for a reason. Don't abandon that. Find people that, there's always going to be somebody that's better at something that you're not great at everything. You can be good at a lot of things, but is that going to serve your clients or your team at a high level? So stop thinking you have to do everything. There's amazing leverage out there that I got fired from going to the grocery store. I used to cook all the time. My business
Yeah.
grew. I kind of got tired of cooking. I'll get back to that. Yet I just am like, Gary goes to the grocery store. He likes to do it. I was buying random things because I wasn't focused on. One year I was so busy working, I forgot to order Thanksgiving turkeys. And so the day before Thanksgiving, he's asking me, where's the turkey? And I'm like, oh my gosh, guess what? If you don't order a turkey beforehand,
I believe it.
there's not good ones out there. I ended up going to Sprouts and getting 2 small, things. I don't even know what they were. It was fine. Everybody survived.
Sure.
Nobody even talks about that Thanksgiving anymore, but I remember it because I was like, "Oh, that's where I learned I needed some better leverage in my life." And Stop trying to be a hero to everything. Like, you're not gonna get an award for that, and nobody thinks it's awesome to carry that around and be so disheveled, and I don't mean disheveled, like, on the outside, but interior-wise. Like, I worked so hard and went so hard and didn't take any time off for a long time, and I got sick. I had 5 major medical things in 2021. Now, it was a record-breaking year for us real estate-wise, but, that's what's the point? Nobody's gonna and I keep saying to myself, like, "Okay, what's the next goal? What am I doing?" And I go, "I also have to find joy."
Yeah.
Because when you sit with someone that you care about deeply on their deathbed, and you hear it all the time, like, nobody said, "I should have worked harder." You hear that, yet is it resonating with you until you're sitting with somebody? And I sat with my mom the last 3 months of her life. She fought a lot of things from a brain tumor to small cell lung cancer to, oh my gosh, I could go on and on. Yet it's she had the final lung cancer that
Mhm.
she knew she wasn't going to make it back from. It was too overwhelming. And so they said, "You have 3 months." And so, which is kind of a gift
Sure.
because I sat with her on the biggest year I'd ever had in real estate. The first time we hit 1,000,000 in GCI, myself and my assistant Eric had just joined my team in the fall. Oh no, that was the year before, 2018. Again, it was still the biggest year in real estate. She passed away in 2018. And I was with her almost every single day of those 3 months, I think exception of 2 days. And we had the best year ever, best fourth quarter. It was fourth quarter. And I got that time with her because I had prepared for not that yet.
Sure.
And to hear her talk about, she worked really hard the last few years of her life to find joy. And she would talk about finding joy. She was a stressed out mess for many years. She would get her feelings hurt easily, and she could, just a lot of like pressure on herself and not setting back and going, "Gosh, okay, I've done some great things. I'm pretty good at what I'm doing." Like, we're taught not to think that way sometimes.
It's so true.
But she's like, "What if I would have, like, taken the time to find joy every single day?" And so, I work on that now, but until you've sat with someone that's on their deathbed and, like, they're going, "This is it. Did I do it? Did I do what I needed to do? Did I help the people? Did I serve people in a big way? Did I actually enjoy it?"
Mm,
Until you're there, it's not real for you. You can't really
yeah.
understand it.
And it really gives you some perspective on why am I doing what I'm doing every day and
Right.
what's it unto?
Yeah. One of my favorite books to kind of give perspective on that is the book called The Last Lecture. He had pancreatic cancer and he was a professor at Carnegie Mellon, I think. And it's an amazing book, The Last Lecture.
Oh,
It's
this
his
lecture.
it's his last lecture.
Okay.
And they ended up publishing it in a book. And there's some commentary in there too, but it's really good. It gives you really good perspective. But until you lose a spouse or someone very, very close to you, you can't really understand what that feels like. And to have that perspective to look back and go, there's plenty of time. Like, you can reset things. So find the joy.
Find the joy.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
And that was your mom's name too, right?
Or her name's Joyce. Yeah.
Joyce. Joyce.
And that's actually my middle name is Joy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
That's funny.
but yeah, Joyce.
Joyce found the joy.
Yeah, finally. So, and she was grateful. She went on 10 cruises her last week because she didn't want to retire. And I have a joke that real estate agents don't ever retire. They just go listless. You've heard me say that before. And she didn't want to retire. She felt guilty. She was like, she still wanted to be doing something with her mind. Yet I was like, just enjoy yourself.
Mhm.
Like, go find a card game. And she, I have a drawing that she did her last few months, and it's this beautiful pencil drawing of like flowers. And like, that's one thing she forgot. She used to be an amazing artist, like doing all this stuff. And like, she was like, huh, I forgot about that. Wish I would have done more of that. Like, have a hobby. When had something I was dealing with, the last illness thing I had, I was like, I couldn't leave the house for a couple of weeks. And I realized I don't have any hobbies. And I'm still searching. I haven't found that yet. So yeah. Yeah. Work is my hobby and my family and like that. But I need something for myself. Yeah.
Getting back to that you.
Yeah. So that's my advice to women is taking care of yourself. Like, stop doing everything. Stop being a martyr. Care for yourself. Like, people might ask for help and they might do it the wrong way.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
It is
Be
okay.
okay with it. Yeah. Because you being frustrated and overwhelmed is not finding the joy.
That's
Yeah.
right.
And it's cheesy to say, yet it's true.
It is true.
Yeah.
Well, last final thoughts. Anything that you want to leave to every person out there that's listening, maybe something from your heart to just end us out on, Micquie?
Oh my gosh, that's a big
ask, huh?
question. So I should have asked you who our audience is. Like everybody in the world.
The world,
Uh,
whoever's out there.
Yeah, I would just say, I mean, yeah, hard work. Well, hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard is yes. And just know what you want. Like, take the time to really go into. There's a really amazing exercise that my coach had it introduced us to years ago. It's called the 5-year letter. And we always know people underestimate what they can do in 5 years. Yet go find that and write yourself a letter to yourself and your family in 5 years and really stretch your brain to think about, what do I want my life to look like, and be the architect of that, because you can go create that. Not everything I can't go play in the NBA or even the WNBA for that sake. Even nowadays, I can't go, win an Olympic gold medal. Like, some of those things aren't possible yet. What is it you want in your life, and what do you want to create, and who do you want to do that for? Who do you want to serve? And everything else will fall into place. Like, when your intentions are clear, decisions are easy, right?
Oh, I love that.
Like, when you have clarity around what you want in your life. And I didn't take the time. I used to say my big why, like, I don't know. I don't have that. That doesn't make sense to me. But now it's pretty clear to me, and helping people have a bigger life. But yeah, I just know what you want.
Know what you want. Give yourself the gift of that clarity.
Yeah,
That's great.
absolutely. Yeah.
Well, Micquie, where can people find you? What's the best way to get in touch with you? Where are you out there in the world?
We're on Instagram and Malina Real Estate.
Malina Real Estate.
Yeah, and then we look at those DMs and phone numbers everywhere, like calls, texts, anything like that, and come by the office anytime.
Fantastic. Well, thank you again, Micquie. I really appreciate your time and for everything that you've poured into us today.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Thanks.
Bye.